Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video we're going to build this script where we will transform our code. It will do refactoring, automatic refactoring on our code, and it will transform it from this syntax where we use the common JS syntax using the require keyword here. We will transform it into this syntax using the ES6 syntax. And this is known to be as codemod. So codemod is basically a script that will parse our code and will transform it. And it's very powerful technique, and it's being used by large teams. For example, the React.js team have been working on code mods for their React library. So whenever they release a breaking change, where you have to refactor your code, they provide a code mod that will help you in refactoring your code from the old version to the new one. Now, but before that, we need to be aware of some concepts. First, let's head over to this website. It's ast.explorer.net, and we will understand the concept of AST. So what's an AST? Basically, it stands for abstract syntax tree, where basically we have our code being represented as a tree. So if we see here on the right hand here, we have this program node, and it's the root node of our tree. And if we have a look at the body property, we will find that we have a variable declaration, which notice here when I hover over this variable declaration, the variable declaration on the left is being highlighted. And also I can do the other way around. I can here hover over this, and I will, for example, if I open this, if I hover over this property here, I can see that this identifier, and it has this name of foo, the name of our property here. Okay. So now if we go back, we have this variable declaration. Inside of it, we have a variable declarator, which has this in it, which is a object expression, which represents the object expression. And we have the identifier, which has this name of object, which is the name of our variable. Now, if I expand this even further, let's have a look at the object expression. Notice here that we have properties. We have an array of properties. We have two properties here, and the first property, if I hover over the second property, which is the function here, I will see that we have, if you open this key, we have the name of this function right here. I have the value of it as a function expression. Notice here that inside here we have params. So it's an array of params. Notice here that we have two params. We have parameter 1 and parameter 2. So if I move this, hover over it again, notice here that we have only one parameter. And so this represents the parameters of this function. You get the idea of an AST tree. It's basically our code being represented as a tree, as this JSON tree. Okay, and this AST syntax has a lot of use cases. So for example, it's being used with babel. So babel is a compiler for JavaScript that's being used essentially for transforming your code or your ES6 code into an older version that can support all the browsers. Also, we have prettier extension of VS Code, which formats our code in VS Code. It also uses AST. We will go over to our code and we will start explaining it. Okay, now we will go over this code. First, I'm using this function to tell us if this variable declaration is a require function or not. So if it's a require statement, if it's a call expression, and it's a require, it's using its name is the require, then that means that it's the require statement. And now, so this function basically tells us if this node is a require statement or not. Okay, now we will go over to this block of code, and here notice here we are using something called the visitor pattern. This visitor pattern uses recursion under the hood to traverse the tree, the nodes of the tree, and we notice here that we have this variable declaration. So here we are looking for a variable declaration, and we are receiving the path as a parameter, and we are extracting the declaration right here, and we are checking if this variable declaration is a require statement or not. If it's a require statement, we will go even further. But if it's not a require statement, then we will return and do nothing. So if it is a require statement, what we will do is we will here on this line we are declaring an import identifier. So we are using here t.identifier, which has this declaration.id.name. So basically, if we have this example right here, this expression would be equivalent to x. So declaration.id.name would give us x. Now we need to declare a import specifier. We say import default specifier, and we give it our identifier right here. And now since we have the package name, we will go to the main program. So we will do find parent, and if this parent is the main program, then we will start here, and we will do unshift and add the import declaration, and we will give it an array of import specifiers. And since we have only one default import, we will put one item in this array. So here, for example, if you want to let's say add, for example, this will be transformed into import x from y. If for example, if you wanted to add also named import like this, for let's say g, you can add another import specifier here. Okay, the last thing to do is to remove the old path, which represent the old require statement. Then at the end we will end up with the new imported statement, and we will remove the old require statement. That's it. Let's execute it. We'll execute this now. And here we have a look at here. We have the input, which is using the require statement. And if we have a look at the output here, we will find is that we have this through here. Now, if I add, for example, const function, which is equal to narrow function that does, for example, console log say hi, and we will do another const argument is equal to require, and we'll say package. And if we run this again now, successfully compiled, and we'll have a look at our output here. Notice here that we have successfully transformed our two imports into the ES6 syntax. And also I have written a script that refactored Vue2 application into Vue3. So instead of using the options API, we moved on from the options API to the composition API, and I had a large code base that I had to refactor. So I created a script for just like this one, but a little bit more complex than this one, of course, and it transformed my Vue 2 code into Vue 3, and I will do a video on that very soon. And thank you for watching.